Hey, it's 2582 coming back at you with another video, and today I'll be reviewing a NASCAR 164 scale diecast, which I haven't done in a while. But this one is actually very rare and very obscure, and you don't really see pop up much. And then I remember seeing a bunch of them, and then they all disappeared because it's super rare. Thankfully, I was able to find one, and of course, I had to bite the bullet no matter the price. Thankfully, this one wasn't too high. And it's this. This is Jim Inglebright's number 20 Jelly Belly Chevrolet for Bill McAnally Racing, as I can tell from the box. Now, of course, this is a Racing Champions 164. This was more than likely a promo diecast, or maybe they sold it in the trailers. I'm not exactly sure how you bought this, but of course, the reason it's obscure is because you don't really see it often. May or may not be a promo car, and it's a Winston West diecast. Of course, a regional diecast is always going to fetch a high value, or very obscure. So I had to get one of these just for a couple of reasons, West Coast and such, but also for another reason you obviously may or may not know if you've been in this channel for a while. But yeah, pretty cool looking box. Of course, we got a bunch of jelly beans on the bottom in the diecast, you can see there. Of course, Jelly Belly number 20 Jim Inglebright. You got the Jelly Belly mascot on there. Of course, made by Racing Champions. 164 scale diecast stock car replica. And there's the other side of the box, and then the back you just got Jelly Belly number 20 Jim Inglebright, and of course the Bill McAnally Racing logo on the back and also on the front. And then here's the bottom. There is a barcode here, so maybe it was purchased somewhere, so it can't be really a promo, or maybe you bought it as a promo, but whatever. And we got a NASCAR Winston West Series logo on there. Got a website on there, I don't know where it goes to, and then it's made by RC2, or maybe distributed by RC2, and officially licensed GM. So let's not waste any more time and take this car out of its little box here, which it is a little interesting here, how to pull something like that. You got a little flap here, and then you pull the entire flap on here. It's kind of like the new diecast, I guess, from nowadays. And we got a little plastic piece and the car just falls out there. And there is the diecast out of its box, which I may or may not put back because this is such a cool looking car. You don't really see candy stuff much, or candy diecast very much. So let me just adjust my camera there. I apologize for that. This car is probably going to fall from my turntable, but whatever. Now, of course, Jelly Belly, they're like never in NASCAR, except only in the regional series, like the Winston West or the Southwest Tour, which is how I recognize Jim Inglebright. Of course, he is from California, but he's more up north, so Northern Californian. And he'd always drive the Jelly Belly car, and would always drive a number 20. So, yeah, it's kind of an iconic car around here. I don't really see it often. It's kind of like iconic regional car, I guess. Now, this car, there's actually two cars that were on this, I guess, set, which if you didn't know, there's actually a set of these for Bill McAnally Racing. Of course, this one is the Jim Inglebright. The other one is an Austin Cameron Napa number 16 Chevrolet. That one is also separate, and it comes in like a similar box like that. But there is one release, or like a release, that actually had both of them, and it actually came with a base, surprisingly. But that one's going to be super, super rare to find. If you do find one, just to have the 2-pack there, would have been awesome to actually find one of those. But even just finding one of them is hard. So, yeah, beggars can't be choosers, I guess. And yeah, this is an interesting diecast, interesting paint scheme, but I like it. Of course, it's a candy company, so it's fun, and regional diecast, Winston West, and you could put this up with the Winston Cup cars, or at the very least your Busch Series cars, and it would not really look out of place, but whatever. So let's take a closer look at this. Of course, Racing Champions. I do like the Racing Champions from this time, where they actually look very accurate, look very nice. But yeah, let's take a closer look at the finer details on this. Of course, running on the Chevy Monte Carlo front end. Got the number 20. Interestingly enough, this is from 2003, but it's running like the 2000, the 2002 Monte Carlo style. But I would imagine the Winston West was running this during that time as well. It's got Chevrolet. We got Jelly Belly on there. Got the Napa logos, which of course is the sponsor for Austin Cameron, which is the other diecast I was mentioning. And on that one, they actually replaced the Napa logos with Jelly Belly logos, I believe. So a little inverted there. We got the number 20 and a pretty cool looking gradient there from white to blue or blue to white with a red outline and a black shadowing. Got Jim Inglebright's name on there. We got the number 20, a bunch of jelly beans all around. We got a bunch of sponsors here. We got 76, Moog, and a bunch of other ones. Now, I did take a look at this before I did the review, and it looks like they might have misprinted some of the. It says Inglebright or Ite, I guess, on there. They might have misprinted it and put it on there because it's supposed to be there. It's only on this side, so it is a little unfortunate to have that. But it honestly doesn't look. It doesn't really ruin the look. I'll be honest. If you look at it from afar, you can't really tell. Okay, you can kind of tell, but at least it doesn't ruin the flow. If it was covering the number or the sponsor, then I would have had an issue, but it kind of doesn't. So, and it kind of goes well with the Goodyear logo on there too. Now, of course, more of the contingencies on there. A little not very nicely printed, but whatever. And we got the NASCAR Winston West series logo, which is really cool to have a tobacco sponsor at least. And it was rated ages 5 and up, and I can't really speak. So, tobacco sponsors are on a car. Of course, a bunch of jelly beans on here, very colorful. Jellybelly.com. You got Napa Belts hose on the deck lid, and the right side is the same as the left side. So, yeah, just simple, but like I said, very rare to find. At least one in mint condition like this, new in the box. Of course, Racing Champions, copyright 2000. Of course, that just means that they haven't redone the tooling since 2000. So if you see someone that it says the year 2000, no, it's 2003. So yeah, very cool. Now, of course, I bought it just because, like I said, Jim Inglebright. There are a bunch of Jim Inglebright diecasts, but it's actually his truck series truck, his Jelly Belly 02 truck. And that is insanely common to find. Like, so I'll just say this. On eBay, I actually have it saved as, like, a name I wanted to look for. And finally, this one actually showed up. But before that, you would only see new listings of those truck series trucks that come with a little tin. Those are insanely common to find. They're like the cereal box cars. You just see them all the time. On eBay, at least. I don't know about flea markets and such. So you can find one of those trucks for like insanely cheap, but this one not. You might have to pay a little bit more upfront, maybe $20, maybe 30. It just depends. But yeah, this is a cool car. You know, yeah, I was gonna say I might put it in my NASCAR box, but I feel like it's a little too nice and rare to just have it there, so I might keep it in my favorites box because it is a little bit of like a niche car to find here. Of course, you know, Jim Inglebright, he raced the West Series races, but he also ran the Southwest Tour, and of course, you know, the LA Street Race. You know, I'm still going on that. I still love investigating the event and finding new information about it. He dominated the one in 2000, but unfortunately, brake issues took him out of contention there. And he's still, I don't know if he still races. I have not found any information if he still does, but he actually did attempt to qualify some Winston Cup races, like I think in 2003, so this same year. He ran the Southwest Tour race at Sonoma, and it kind of looked like this car, even though that car was won by Kevin Harvick, and I actually have the 124 scale car of that one, of his winning car. And he tried to qualify the 00 Jelly Belly car for RCR, interestingly enough. So yeah, he did try to attempt a couple of, and I think one time he tried to qualify the number 0 car in, I don't know if it was still for Richard Childress. And I believe he ran the number 30 AOL car at Sonoma. So it looks like Richard Childress knew Jim Inglebright or something like that, or maybe it was just at Sonoma. That's pretty much it. But other than that, yeah, it's a very cool car. And that's the reason I wanted it, just because I like the little history, stuff like that, and the fact that I have a diecast of it now. Very nice. So that has been the review of the 2003 Jim Inglebright Jelly Belly Chevrolet from the Winston West series by, or raced for, Bill McAnally Racing, made by Racing Champions. So if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, subscribe. We're trying to reach those 1,000 subscribers. We're getting closer and closer every single day, y'all. I know we can make that very soon. And I'll see you next time. Peace.